Hi everybody, it's Michelle from Poochie Baby, and in this video I'm going to be starting a series of crochet lessons and learning the basics on how to crochet. So this first video I want to show you guys just some information that you'll need and some basic knowledge you need to have before you begin to crochet. Now in starting any project, you usually have a pattern to follow or some instructions, and you'll need to learn about hooks, crochet hooks. It's a very simple hobby to start. You don't need very many supplies. You will find yourself accumulating a lot of yarn, but that's okay because it always gets used. It doesn't sit around. You actually use the yarn to make all of your projects. So you will need a hook, and they come in many different sizes and different styles. I have some examples here. These are my clover hooks. And they are regular hooks, but they have a special handle. It makes them much easier to hold on to. I bought these about 2 years ago, and these are the only thing I use now. I love these crochet hooks. They come in all the sizes. Your hooks will have sizes. In the US, we use the lettering system. So these are clover hooks. These are basic hooks that you can find anywhere. You can find them at Walmart, anywhere pretty much you can find these hooks. And the size just determines the size of the rod and the hook. The bigger the hook, the larger your stitch is going to be. So these are basic. You can usually find sets of these that you can purchase a whole set together, or you can buy them individually. So you will need a hook to complete your projects. You may also need a tapestry needle. And this is only to weave in your yarn ends when you get finished or when you're switching out colors and you have a tail. And you just weave that into the project that you're working on to get rid of that tail end. It's not required, but it's nice to have one, and I always use it. Of course, you'll need scissors. Any scissors will do. They make special snippers for crocheters or knitters. They have little medallions with a blade inside that you can wear as a necklace, and you have it on your neck and you can just snip off your yarn as you go. There are all kinds of special blades for that you can purchase like at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So that's the hardware involved. This is really the only hardware that you need, this and your scissors. Now moving on to the yarn. The yarn can seem like it's confusing, but it's really not. Your pattern should tell you what type of yarn to use. And it should give you a number. There's worsted weight, there's finger weight, there's sport weight, and it should have a number corresponding to it. Like worsted weight yarn, which is what probably the majority of things are made with, is a number 4 yarn. And every skein of yarn, this is a skein that you purchase. This is a skein. Every skein will have all the information you need about that particular yarn. Here's all the information. It gives you the number, which this is a number 4. It gives you the washing instructions, and it'll also give you the ounces. This skein, when it was full, was 6 ounces, and how many yards total it was for this skein of yarn. Now you need to pay attention to this yardage, because even though this is 6 ounces, in a different brand of yarn, a 6-ounce skein may have either less or more yardage. I don't know why that is, but it is. So that's the yarn. This one here is a sport weight yarn, which is a number 3. And it'll have some number 3. And it has all the washing information. It'll give you a gauge. Some patterns will tell you the gauge, which means that if you use this hook, say you use an eye hook, how many stitches you're going to get per inch using this yarn and this hook together. Because the smaller the yarn, the smaller the stitch. The smaller the hook, the smaller the stitch. So it should give you a gauge to give you an idea of how many stitches you can get out of this particular skein of yarn. You not only have yarn that you can crochet, but you can also crochet thread. This is a number 3 thread, and it says number 3, and it's more on the thicker side. This is a number 10. Oh no, sorry, number 5. There is a number 10 that's even thinner. Number 5 seems to be the most popular. This is what most people use for making doilies, or even the number 10, the real thin thread. I like to use thread to make bedspreads, little bedspreads for doll houses, that type of thing, or embellishments to put on other projects like purses. The thread, you usually have to use the smaller. Sometimes I use this B hook, but you also have even smaller hooks that you can purchase in sets, and they're usually just the plain silver hooks that have a very small hook on the end. I recommend getting used to crocheting with regular yarn before you start using thread, because it requires a little more finesse, and you need to be used to completing all the stitches before you start using this really thin, small yarn or thread and a smaller hook. So that's the thread. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you really need to know before you start learning the basic crochet stitches. And once you learn the basic stitches, you can make pretty much anything. I recommend getting a really good grasp of those basic steps before moving on to the more advanced techniques, because once you learn them, you can pretty much complete any other step in a project. It just requires patience and perseverance, and you can learn how to do it. So if you guys have any questions about any of the basics that you need to know before you start to learn to crochet, just please ask, put it in the comments section, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.